So I wanted to forget about casting the H text and play with the best performers that I have. And these are people who have suffered with me over the years. And when I called them, they said, "You must be out of your mind." But because they're so nice, they're here. And we've had a lot of fun with this thing because it's a play that was done in 1905. And it was at the time when the Abbey Theater was forming. And everybody knows William Butler Yeats, Lady Gregory, and John Millington Synge, but nobody knows Pádraic Colum. And he was a very, very well-known writer in his own day, and this was his first play. And this play proved far more popular with the Irish people than all the people I just mentioned. So it is about something that, good. Look at that, we have pizza. My granddaughter. This particular play is about something that seems to be quintessentially Irish. It's about the land. And I think it's a thing we don't want to forget. The Irish plays are almost always about the land, the family, and God. There's one mention of God. Let's see if you pick it up. And so we're very pleased to get a chance to fool around with this, and I'm particularly pleased to have what I call my usual suspects. So now, Gloria, where's Gloria? Where's Gloria? Gloria? Did she leave me?
Gloria who? Yes,
Gloria,
two Glorias.
The two Glorias, and come here. One was Chesterton Institute, one was
Catholic studies.
Catholic Studies. Okay. Go get it.
Double Gloria. Good evening, and thank you for being here with us tonight to enjoy this evening's event and the dramatic reading of Pádraic Colin's The Man. I think I said it right. Adapted by our own Dr. Sloan, with a reading from the Atlantic Theatre Company, thank you, and commentary by Dr. Quinn. Today's program is being sponsored by the Department of Catholic Studies, thank you Inez and Gloria, our Chesterton Institute, and the Walsh Gallery. I'd like to say a word of thanks to Jeannie for hosting us, for receiving us in your beautiful gallery, and to have this program. And after the reading, there will be commentary by Dr. Quinn, and then we will have some light refreshments. Just an announcement, please do not bring food or drink into the gallery, otherwise Jeannie will not be happy. And please turn your telephones off. So enjoy.
My young love said to me, my mother, my father won't slight you for your lack of kind. She stepped away from me, and this she would say, it will not be long. Already made. She went away from me and moved through the air. And fondly I watched her move here and move there. Then she went homeward with one star away. In the evening, moved over her way. I dreamed it last night, my dear love came in. So softly she turned back, her feet made no din. She laid her hand on me, and then she did say, will not be long, till our wedding day. No, it will not be long,
It won't put me a bit past my own time. You old black base of a sow. Sure, I'm slaving to you all the spring. We'll be getting rid of yourself and your litter soon enough. And may the devil get you when we lose you.
Good morrow, Sally. May you have the good of the day.
Ah, God reward you, Cornelius Durst, for coming in. I'm that busy keeping food to the sow and a litter of pigs that I couldn't get behind the gate to see anyone.
You're a good girl, Sally. You're not like some I know. There are girls in this parish who never put hands to a thing till evening when the boys do be coming in. Then they begin to stir themselves the way they'll be thought busy in wood about a house.
Oh, it's true indeed for you, Cornelius. There are girls that'll be decking themselves out sporting or themselves all day.
I may say that I may come to your father, Murta Cosgray's house this morning, thinking to meet the men.
What men, Cornelius Durst?
And they're going to meet the landlord's people with an offer for the land. We're not buying ourselves, unfortunately, but this is a great day. The day of the redemption, my father calls it. And I'd like to have some hand in the work. It was only to say a few words to the men.
It's a wonder, Martin, your father isn't on the one errand with you.
Oh, we came out together, but the priest stopped Father and us on the road. Father Bartley wanted his advice, I suppose. It's a pity the men won't have someone like my father with them. He was in jail for the cause. Besides, he's a well-discoursed man, a reading man, and moreover, a man with classical knowledge of English, Latin, and the Hibernian vernacular. And here's himself now. I was just telling Sally here what a great day it is, Father.
Aye, it's a great day, no matter what our own troubles may be. I should be going home again.
Oh, for the men, Father.
Maybe they'll be here soon. Is Murtaugh in, Sally?
He's down at the bottoms, Martin.
He's going to Arbroath Fair, maybe.
He is in truth.
I'll be asking him for a lift. He'll be going to the fair when he comes back from the lawyers, I suppose.
Aye, you'll be going tonight. Cornelius!
Cornelius!
Cornelius, give me a hand with this. And
Cornelius,
then
I want to speak to you.
What is it,
There's
Father?
something on my mind.
What is it?
It's about our Ellen. Father Bartley gave me news for her. I've heard of a school little Suit Ellen, says he. It's in the county lately.
If it was in Dublin itself, Ellen is qualified to take it on. It wouldn't be grand to have one of our family teaching in a school.
I wouldn't stand in her way, Cornelius. I wouldn't stand in her way. But won't it be a poor thing for an old man like me to have no one to discourse with in the long evenings? For when I'm talking with you, Cornelius, I feel like a boy who lends back all the marbles he's won and plays again just for the sake of the game.
But we were in dread of Ellen going to America at one time, and then she went in for the school. Now, Matt Cosgar may keep her from the school. Maybe we won't have to go further than this house to see Ellen.
Well, I'm hoping it'll be like that. But I'm in dread that Murta Cosgar will never agree to it. He's a hard man to deal with. Still, Murta and myself will be on the long road tonight, and we might talk of it. I'm afeard of Ellen going.
There's herself that's coming here now, Father.
Maybe she has heard the news and is coming to tell us.
Is it only ourselves that's here?
Only ourselves. Did you get any news to bring us over?
No news. It was the shine of the day that brought me out, and I was thinking too of the girls that are going to America in the morning, and that made me restless.
And did you see Matt?
He was in the field and I coming up, but I didn't wait for him as I don't want people to see us together. I don't know how I come into this house, for it's always like Murtaugh Cosgar. There's nothing of Matt in it at all. If Matt would come away. There are little labourers' houses by the side of the road. Many's the farmer's son become a labourer for the sake of the woman he cared for.
And are you not thinking about the school at all, then?
I'll hear about it sometime, I suppose.
Oh, you're right to take it that way, Ellen. School doesn't mean scholarship now. Many's the time I'm telling Cornelius that a man farming the land with a few books on his shelf and a few books in his head has more of the scholar's life about him than the young fellows who do to be teaching in the schools or teaching in the colleges.
That's all very well, Father. School and scholarship isn't the one. But think on the word Constantinople. I could leave off hurting and digging every time I think on that word.
It's a great word. A word like that would make you think for days. And there are many words like that.
It's not so much the long words that we're given here to teach and learn about. Now, when will you be home, Father? Will Cornelius be with you?
Ellen, I have some news for you. There's a school in Leitrim that Father Bartley can let you have.
In Leitrim? Did you tell Matt about it?
I did not.
Cornelius!
Oh, here's Matt now. The benefit of the day, Matt.
You're welcome, Ellen. Good morning, Martin. It's a great day for the purchase, Martin.
Ah, great day indeed, thank God.
Ah, it's a great thing to feel the ownership of the land, Martin.
I don't doubt what it is.
Look at the young apple trees, Ellen. Oh, walking up this morning, I felt as glad as them as a young man would feel glad of a sweetheart he saw coming towards him.
Aye, there's great gladness and shine in the day.
It seems to trouble you.
It does trouble me.
Why?
Everything seems to be saying, there's something here, there's something going.
Aye, a day like this often makes it feel that way. It's a great day for the purchase, though. How many years ought we to offer, Ellen?
20 years, I suppose. Matt,
What is it, Ellen?
I have got an offer of a school in the county Leitrim.
Oh, I wish they'd wait, Ellen. I wish they'd wait till I had something to offer you.
I'm a long time waiting here, Matt.
We're both young.
This is summer now, there'll be autumn in a month or two. The year will have gone by without bringing me anything.
He'll be letting me have my own way soon, my father will.
Murtagh Osgar never let a child of his have their own way.
When the land's bought out, he'll be easier to deal with.
When he owns the land, he'll never let a son of his marry a girl without land or fortune.
Ellen, I lose house and land for you. Sure you know that, Ellen. My brothers and sisters took their freedom. They went from this house and went away to the ends of the world. Maybe I don't differ so much from them. But I put my work into the land, and I'm beginning to know the land. I won't lose it, Ellen. Neither will I lose you.
Oh, Matt, what's the land after all? Do you ever think of America? The streets, the shops, the throngs?
The land is better than that when you come to know it, Ellen.
Maybe it is.
I've set my heart on a new house. Aye, and he'll build one for us when he knows my mind.
Do you think he'd build a new house for us, Matt? Well, I could settle down if we were by ourselves. Maybe it's true that there are things stirring. We could begin a new life here then.
We can, Ellen, we can. Hush, father's without.
Well, good morning to you. When I get to speaking to that Sally again, she'll remember what I say. Giving cabbages to the pigs, and all the bad potatoes in the house, and I had to get into the clouds of the night to turn the cows out of the young meadow. No care about me. That you take the harness outside and put the thong where there's a strain in it.
Ellen, I'll have news for you when I see you again. I've made up my mind to that.
Are you going to the fair, Father?
I with Murtagh.
God be with you, Father.
But what purchase are you thinking of offering, Murtagh?
20 years?
It's fair enough. Oh, it's a great day for the country, no matter what our own troubles may be.
It's a pity you having to share in the day after all.
Ah, it's a pity indeed.
From this day out, we're planted in the soil.
I were planted in the soil.
God, it's a great day.
This is a memorial occasion, Murtagh Osgar, and I wish you the felicitations of it. I met the delegates coming in, and I put myself at the head of them. It's the day of redemption, Murtagh Osgar. I guess he's gone up into the papers. Father, we must give the men the understanding for the business. They must demand the mineral rights.
God be good to Cornelius. There's little world's harm in the boy. Murtagh Osgar.
He and my Sally would make a great match of it. She's a bright one, too.
Murtagh Osgar, have you no feeling for your own flesh and blood?
Too much feeling, maybe. But that's the side of to fill one's heart, lands plowed and spread, and all our own. All our own.
All our own, aye. We made it a hard fight for them.
Aye.
And them that will come after us will never see them as we're seeing them now.
Them that come after us. Isn't that a great thought, Martin Doors? And isn't it a great thing that we're able to pass this land on to them, and it redeemed forever? Aye, and their manhood spared the shame that our manhood knew. Standing in the rain with our hats off to let a landlord, our landlord's dog boy, passed away.
May it be our own generation that will be in it. Aye, but the younger going fast, the younger going fast.
Some of them are no loss.
And of your own children went Martha Cosper.
I never think of them. When they went from my control, they went from me altogether. There's the more for Matt.
Aye, Matt. Matt's a good lad.
There's little fear of him leaving now.
Maybe. But mind you, Murder Coster, there are things, little things, mind you, at least ways what we call little things. And after all, who are we to judge whether...
Is there anything on your mind, Martin Doris?
No. I was thinking, maybe you'd give me a lift toward Arbach if you'd be going that way tonight.
Aye, why not?
And we could talk about the land and about Matt, too. Wouldn't it be a heartbreak if any of our children went because of a thing that we...
What have you to say about Matt?
Oh, nothing, except in what you might call a general way. There is many a young man left house and land for the sake of some woman, Murder Cosper.
There's many a fool did it.
Aye, maybe. I'll be going now.
Stop. You know about Matt. What woman is he thinking of?
Oh, we'll talk about it again, Murder. I said it.
Now, we'll talk about it now. Who is she? What name has she?
It's a good name, Murder Cosper. It's my own name.
Your name? Ellen.
You're right. A good name and a good girl.
And you think a son of mine would marry a daughter of yours?
Well, what great difference is between us after all?
The daughter of a man who'd be sitting over his fire, reading his paper, and the clouds above his potatoes, and all the cows trampling his oats. Do you know me at all, Martin Doris? I came out of a little house by the roadway and built my house on a hill. I had many children. Coming home in the long evenings or kneeling still when the prayers would be over, I'd have my dreams. A son in Honolulu, a son in Ballybrien, a son in Dunmore, a son of mine with a shop, a son of mine saying mass in Kilnallee. I'd have a living name in flesh and blood.
God help you, Martin Cosper.
But I've a son still. It's not your daughter. He'll be married.
Murder Cosper, for God's sake, we're both old men.
You've read many stories, Martin Doors, and you know many endings. You'll see an ending now, and it will be a strong ending and a sudden ending. Matt, you wanted here?
I heard you call. So, they're sticking to the 20 years.
20 years, Matt, and they'll get it for 20. Oh, it's a great day for you both. Father and son, you come into a single inheritance. But the father wins, the son wields.
The father wins, the son wastes.
What's the talk of father and son?
They're the one flesh and blood. There's no more strife between them than between the right hand and the left hand.
We were talking about you. We were fixing a match for you.
Fixing a match? For me?
Aye, Matt. Don't you think it's time to be making a match for you?
Maybe it is. When you have the woman, call. I'll be without.
We haven't chosen yet. But it won't be Martin Doris's daughter anyway.
Stop. You drove all your children away except Sally and myself. You think Sally and myself are the one sort?
Martin's daughter? Corny's sister? That's the girl for you?
We're not the one sort, I tell you. Martin Doris, isn't he a foolish old man that would drive away all his children from him? What would his 20 years' purchase be to him then?
It wasn't for my children I worked. No, thank God. It wasn't for my children I worked. Go if you will. I can be alone.
Oh, Murtha. Murtha, sure you know you can't be alone. We're two old men, Murtha.
He daren't go.
Because I'm the last of them, he thinks he can dare me like that.
There's more of my blood in the others.
Do you say that?
For God's sake, don't say it again, Murtha.
I do say it again. Them who dare to go had more of my blood in them.
You've put me to it now, and I'm glad. Glad! A little house. A bit of land. Do you think that could keep me here?
It's his own way that he wants. I never had my own way. You're my last son. You're too young to know the hardship there was in rearing you.
Your last son? That won't keep me here. I'm the last of my name, but that won't keep me here. I leave you your lands, your 20 years' purchase, Murtagh Cosgar. Murtagh Cosgar, isn't that a great name, Martin Doris? A name that's well planted, a name for generations. Isn't he a lucky man that has a name for generations?
He can't go. How could he go? And he the last of the name? Close the door, I say.
He'll go to Ellen, surely. We'll lose both of them. Murtha Cosper, God comfort you and me.
Ellen? Who's Ellen? Why? That daughter of yours? Close the door, I say.
Act 2. Interior of Martin Doris's.
I let the men down the road a bit. We ought to take great pride in this day, Ellen. Father did more than any of them to bring it about.
And he suffered more than any of them. And it's little we'll get out of the day.
It's a great thing to prophesy, even. We'll be here to see a great change.
There will be no change to make things better.
We'll be taking that school, Ellen.
I'll wait a while.
Oh, God save you, Cornelius. Tell me, is my father gone? I dread going back and he there. It was all over the base of the south that he's kept me slaving all through the spring, till I don't know whether greens or potatoes is the fittest for her.
He didn't go, Sally. I went down a bit of the road myself with the men.
God help me. And I'll have to be going down to boil meal for her now. Oh, how are you, Ellen?
Why don't you sit down for a while, Sally? It's a long time since I was speaking with you.
I'll leave this paper a while. I won't be looking for pipe lights. There are things in that paper I'd like to understand.
So tell me, Sally, are they always that busy in your house? You know, is your father as harsh as they say?
Father would keep us all working. He's a powerful, great man.
Matt will be bringing a wife into the house soon, from all I hear. How would your father treat her?
Oh, he'd have his way, and she'd have her way too, I suppose.
And do you think your father will let him marry?
Sure, he must if the boy likes.
What would you say if Matt married a girl without a fortune?
In my mother's country, there's lots of girls with fortunes that Matt could have.
Supposing he wanted a girl that had no fortune.
I suppose father would give in the end. It wouldn't be clay against flint when Matt and father would be at it.
You're a good girl, Sally. If I was Matt's wife, do you think you'd be fond of me?
I'd like you as well as another, Ellen.
I suppose it'll be here soon.
Oh, yes, for the girls and boys going to America. I'll have the tea ready for them.
Who's coming? It's the boys and girls from America.
Yeah, that's them. They are going to Gilroy's tonight and are leaving from that there in the morning. They are coming in to see Ellen's on their way down.
There are so many going this night. The land never troubles them in America, and they can wear fine clothes and be as free as the larks over the bogs. It's a wonder you never thought of going, Ellen.
Well, Father wouldn't like me to be so far from him, so I went into the school instead.
Now you've got a fine boy like Matt. It was lucky for you to be staying here.
Oh, gosh, Sally.
Oh, I knew all about it before you talked to me at all. Oh, Matt always goes to the places where he thinks you'll be.
Oh, I'll be in the room when the girls come, Cornelius.
Oh, help us, but she's the silent creature. Isn't it a wonder she's not filled with talk of him after seeing him today? But Ellen's right. We shouldn't be talking about men, nor thinking about them either. And that's the way to keep them on our hands on the long run. I'll be going myself.
Don't be minding Ellen at all, Sally.
Well, as high as she is and as mighty as she is, she came into his own house to see Matt. God, between us and harm, Cornelius, maybe they'll be saying I came into your house to see you.
Who know you came at all? And what isn't seen won't be spoken.
Would you like me to stay, Cornelius?
Oh, I would.
Didn't mind the cell. Would you like me to knit you a pair of socks, Cornelius?
Oh, I would say. I'd love to wear
I'll knit them. We'll be getting rid of that sow tonight, maybe, and I'll have time after that.
And you come along the road when I'm hurt. I don't want to be going near your father's house.
Cornelius, it won't be lucky for us when Father hears about Ellen and Matt.
That's true. No man sees his house afire but looks to his rick.
Come down a bit of the road with me, Cornelius. The sow will be grunting, reminding Father that I'm away. Oh, a minute ago I was as contented as if there was no lamb, no pigs, and no harsh words to trouble. The boys and girls from America are coming here. Here they are.
Oh, give me your hands to hold, Sally. We are as young as any of them after all.
Some time passes, and after about a half an hour, in comes Sally with some news.
Ellen, I have wonders to tell. Where is Cornelius at all? Oh, he's never here when you have wonders to tell.
What have you to tell?
Oh, I don't know how I'll even get it all out. Matt and Father had an odious falling out, and it was about you. And Matt's going to America, and he's to bring you with him. And Cornelius was saying that if Father found out about yourself and Matt...
Sally, take a breath and tell me.
Matt is going to America like the others, and he's taking you with him.
Sally, is it the truth you're telling
It
me?
is the truth. Honest as the day, it's the truth.
And I thought I'd be content with a new house. Now we can go away together. Oh, I can see what I longed to see. I have a chance of knowing what is in me. Oh, it's just great news you brought me. No one ever brought such great news before. Take this little cross. You won't be having a chance of getting to be fond of me after all.
I don't know why I was so fervent to tell you. There's this stool for me that myself and Cornelius were just sitting on, and he's saying, oh, here's Matt. Oh, now we'll hear all about it.
So soon. Sally, go down the road a bit when he comes up. Sally, you have a simple mind. You might be saying a prayer that it will be for the best.
Go down the road a bit. Oh, Deacon, I will not. I know the whole ins and outs of it. I'm sure I'm as much concerned in it as herself. No man sees his house after, but watches his rick, he was saying. Oh, there's a few of them could think of as fine a thing as that.
Well, Sally, were you home lately?
I was. Leastways as far as the door. Father and old Martin were discoursing.
I've given them something to discourse about. Maybe you'll be treated better from this day, Sally.
Well, I'll be going now. Oh, Nat, I'm sorry.
It happened at last, Ellen. The height of the quarrel came.
But it was bound to come. I knew it would come.
He was a foolish man to put shame on me after all I did for the land.
You had too much thought for the land.
I had in troth. The others went when there was less to be done. They could not stand him, even the girls went away.
There's a high spirit in the whole of you.
I showed it to him. Stop, said I. No more! I fleet lands and house and everything aside.
You said that?
I? Your other children went for less, said I. Do you think there's no blood in me at all?
Oh, what happened then?
I'm your last son, said I. Keep your land and your 20 years' purchase. I'm with the others. Heavens, poor your land will leave you, and you without a son to bring down your name. A bit of land, a house, said I. Do you think these will keep me here?
I knew they could not keep you here, Matt. You have broken from them at last, and now the world is before us. Think of all that's before us, the sea, and the ships, and the strange life, and the great cities. Oh.
Aye. There before us. If we like.
Surely we like.
I was always shy of crowds. I'm simple after all, Ellen. I have no thought beyond the land.
You said that house and land could not keep you. You told him you were going as your brothers went.
And I felt I was going. I frightened him. He'd be glad to see me back. I will be long before he treats me that way again.
Matt?
What is it, Ellen?
I don't know. I was upset thinking of the quarrel. My poor Matt. Oh, it was about me that you quarreled.
Aye, he spoke against you.
He doesn't know
Put
your...
up with that.
No, he doesn't know your high spirit. He doesn't know your strength.
Ellen, it's no shame for a man to have harsh words said to him when it's about a woman like you.
Let nothing come between us now. I saw you in the winter making drains and ditches and wet. It's a poor story, the life of a man on the land.
I had too much thought for the land.
You had thought for me now. There is no one in fair market who knows me. I was never a favorite. I lived to myself, and I did not give my love about. You have never offered me anything. In the song, a man offers towns to his sweetheart. Well, now you can offer me the sights of great towns and the fine manners and the fine life.
Ellen, it's not me that could offer like that. I never had anything to my hand but a spade.
Your brothers, think of them.
They left someone behind. I'm the last of my name.
Why should that keep you back?
His name is something to a man. Could you hear of your own name melting away without unease? You're a woman. A man feels it more.
I do not understand men. But you go back to your father's house after he's shaming you out of it?
He'd be glad to see me back. He'll never cast it up to me that I went.
Matt, your father said words against me. Will you go to him and take his hand after that?
It was little he said against you. It was against your father he spoke.
My God! After all my wait, and you talk like that.
Ellen, tell me what I can do for you. There's land and houses to be had here. Father will let me have my own way after this.
What does it matter to me whether he lets you have your own way or not? Do you think I could go into a farmer's house?
Ellen.
It's a bad hand I make of a farmer's house. I'm not the sort to be in one. Not like Sally.
Don't be talking that way, Ellen.
Well, I must be talking like this. If you take me, you will have to go from your father's house. I always knew it. You ought to know it now, Matt Cosgrove.
You didn't always know it. And you let someone come between us when you talk like that.
No, I'm not one to be listening to what people say about you. Nor did I be talking in the markets about you.
I suppose not. You wouldn't have people think you gave any thought to me. I'm not good enough for you. The people you know are better.
Oh, you're foolish to be talking like that. You are foolish, I say.
I know I'm foolish. We'd only be working in drains and dishes in the winter. That's what you think.
Well, maybe it is.
Ellen Doris, a farmer's roof will be high enough for you someday.
May I never see the day. Go back. Make it up with your father. Your father will be glad of a laborer.
Maybe you won't be glad of it if I go back thinking of what you said.
I said too much. We don't know each other at all. Go back. You've made your choice.
Very well then. God above. Have I to to be treated everywhere like a heifer strayed into a patch of oats? Neither man nor woman will make me put up with this any longer. When Ellen Doris wants me, she knows the place to send to. I'll be waiting 2 days or 3 days to hear from Ellen Doris.
Oh, 2 days or 3 days you'll wait for me. As if I go into a Murtagh Cosgar's house. As if I go into any farmer's house. As if I get married at all in the world before me. 2 days or 3 days you'll wait. Oh, maybe it's lonesome, weary years you'll be waiting that Cosgar.
Act 3. Interior of Murtagh Cosgar's. It's getting late, Murtagh Cosgar.
Aye, it's getting late.
Time for me to be going home. I should be seeing Ellen.
Stay where you are. We're 2 old men, as you say. We should be keeping each other's company for a bit.
I should be going home to see Ellen.
If she's going, you can't stay her. Let you keep here.
She'll be wondering what happened to me.
Devil a bit of no trouble there. You're going to the fair anyway.
I have no heart to be going to a fair.
It's myself used to have the great heart. Driving in on my own sidecar, looking down on the crowd of them. It's 20 years since I took a sup of drink. Oh, we'll have drinking tomorrow that'll soften the old skin of you. You'll be singing songs about the Trojans to charm every beast in the fair.
We're both old men, Murtagh Cosgar.
And is there any reason in your scholarship why old men should be dry old men? Answer me that.
I won't answer you at all, Murtagh Cosgar. There's no use talking to you.
Put it down on a piece of paper that old men should have light hearts when their care is gone from them. That is,
There's nothing in the world like men with their rearing gone from them, and they old.
Ah! And look, here's one of the clutch home. Well, did you see that brother of yours?
I did. He'll be home soon, Father.
What's that you say? Were you talking to him? Did he say he'd be home?
I heard him say it, Father.
Well, God bless you for the news, Sally.
How could he go, and he the last of them? Surely, it would be against nature. Where did you see him, Sally?
At Martin Doris's, Father.
It's Ellen Doris that's putting him up to all this. Don't you be said by her, Sally.
No, Father.
You're a good girl, and if you haven't wit, you have sense. He'll be home soon, did you say?
He was coming home. He went round the long way. I'm thinking, Ellen Doris was vexed with him, Father. She isn't going either. Matt says, but I'm thinking that you might as well try to keep corn Craig in the meadow for a whole winter as to try to keep Ellen Doris in Annalee.
Make the place tidy for him to come into. He'll have no harsh words for me.
Father's surely getting old.
He's gone up to rest himself, God help him. Sally ashore. I'm not cluttered. I dread going into my own house.
I'll get ready now, and let you have a good supper before you go to the fair.
Sit down, Miriam. Let me hear everything, Sally. Was it Matt that told you, or were you talking to Ellen herself?
Oh, indeed. I had a talk with Ellen, but she won't give much of her mind away. It was Matt that was telling me, indeed, she's not going, says he. And a smart young fellow like myself thinking of her. Ellen is too full of notions. Oh, here's Matt himself. Father won't have a word to say to him. He's getting mild as he's getting old. And maybe it's a fortune he'll be leaving to myself.
Where is he? He's not gone to the fair so early.
He's in the room.
Were you talking to him at all? Were you telling him you saw myself?
I was telling him that you were coming back.
How'd he take it?
Very quiet. God help us all. I think Father's losing his spirit.
Well, you see, I've come back, Martin.
Aye. You're a good lad. I always said you were a good lad.
How did Father take it, Martin?
Quiet. Quiet. You saw Ellen?
I saw Ellen. She shouldn't talk to me the way she talks, Martin. What she said keeps coming into my mind. I'm troubled. God knows I've trouble enough on my head.
What did she say, Matt?
It wasn't what she said. But she has that school in her mind, I know.
And is there anything to keep her here, Matt?
I don't know that she thinks much of me now. We had a few words. But there's nothing in the world I could above Ellen Doris.
I should be going to her.
Oh, wait a bit. And I'll be going with you. Wait a bit. Let's talk it over. She wouldn't go from you, and you won't.
Oh, God forgive my age if it would keep her here. Would I have my Ellen drawing to her for minding a cow or fending pigs?
I'm fond of her, Martin. She couldn't go, and I'm so fond of her. What am I doing here? I should be making it up to her. What good will anything be if Ellen Doris goes? I came to settle with him. I mustn't be running around like a frightened child.
Sally, it's time to be putting on the meal. If you have any cabbage left, put it through the meal. Matt, did you put the thong in the harness?
I did. Well, I'll come back to you.
You're welcome. We're making ready for the fair.
I'll be going out again before nightfall.
I'll not be wanting you here or at the fair.
There's no good talking to me like that.
You said I'd come back, and I said you're welcome. You said I'm going out again, and I said I'll not be wanting you.
Father, have you no feeling for me at all?
Sure, the wild raven on the tree has thought for her young.
Aye, but do you feel for me? And I'm standing here trying to talk to you.
You're my son. So I feel sorry for you. And you beginning to know your own foolishness. Sally, I'm not taking the pigs. Put a fresh bedding under them tonight.
I will, Father.
Be up early. Let the cows along the road, or they'll be breaking into the young meadow.
I'll do that too.
Be sure to keep enough fresh milk for the young calf.
I'll be sure to do it, Father.
Before I go out again, there's something I want settled.
What is it you want?
Would you have me go, or would you have me stay?
Oh, talking about going or staying, and you the last of them?
But I will be talking of it. You must treat me differently if you want me to stay. You must treat me differently than the way you treat Sally.
You are always treated differently, Matt. In no house that I ever remember was there a boy treated as well as you were treated here.
The houses that you remember are different from the houses that are now. Will you have me go, or will you have me stay?
You're very threatening. I'd have you stay. For the sake of the name, I'd have you stay.
Let us take hands on it then.
Wait, we'll see what you want first.
You have no feeling. I go out of this house, only I want to give you a chance.
Stop. We can have kindness in this. We needn't be beating each other down like men at a fair.
We're not men at a fair. May God keep the kindness in our hearts.
Don't be going, Martin Doers.
Don't be going yet. I'll be with you. I'll be with you when you're going.
You'll be getting married, I suppose.
Maybe I
If you
will.
stay.
Maybe I will.
In the houses that are now. Young marry when they have a mind to. It's their business, they say.
Maybe it is their own business. I'm going to marry Ellen Doris, if she'll have me.
Ellen is a good girl and clever, I'm told. But I would not have you deal before you go to the fair.
I'm going to marry Ellen Doris.
Her father is here, and we can settle it now. What fortune will you be leaving Ellen, Martin? That £100 pound that was saved while you were in Maryborough jail?
I'm going to marry Ellen Doris with or without a fortune.
Boy, your father built this house. He got these lands together. He has a right to see that you and your generations are in the way of keeping them together.
I'll marry Ellen Doris with or without a fortune.
Marry her then. Marry Ellen Doris.
Now, Martin, we mustn't let an hour pass before going to her.
Marry Ellen Doris. I bid you. Break what I have built. Scatter what I have put together. That is all the young will be doing.
Ellen,
It's my father I came to speak to.
When you come to my house, Ellen Doris, you are welcome with him.
It's right that I should speak to you all, Matt Cosgar. Matt, I am going from here.
Ellen, don't be saying that. Don't be thinking of the few words between us. It's all over now. Now, Father agrees to us marrying. Speak, Father, and let her hear yourself say it.
I can't go into a farmer's house.
You said that out of passion. Don't keep your mind on it any longer.
It's true. It's true. I can't go into a farmer's house. This place is strange to me.
How can you talk like that? I'm always thinking of you.
I've stayed here long enough. I want my own way. I want to know the world.
If you go, how will I be living day after day? The heart will be gone out of me.
You'll be owning the land, Matt Cosgar.
I've worked on the land all my days. Don't talk to me about it now.
Listen to me, Matt Cosgar. And you listen to Ellen Doris. It's a new house you want, maybe. This house was built for me and my generations. But I'll build a new house for you both. It's hard for a man to part with his land before the hour of his death. And it's hard for a man to break his lands, but I'll break them and give a share of land to you.
You were never friendly to me, but you have the high spirit. And you deserve a better daughter than I would make. The land and the house you offer would just be a drag on me.
Ellen, what he offers is nothing after all. But I care for you. Sure, you won't go for me like that.
Oh, can't you let me go? I care for you as much as I care for anyone. But it's my freedom I want.
Then you're going, surely.
I am. Goodbye.
Matt, be a man. We offered her everything. She went. There's no knowing what the like of her wants. The men will be in soon and we'll drink to the new ownership.
Oh, what's the good talking to me about that now? If Ellen was here, we might be talking about it.
Tomorrow, you and me might go together. Aye. The bog beyond the meadow is well drained by this, and we might put the plow over it. There will be a fine, deep soil in it, I'm thinking. Don't look that way, Matt, my son.
When I meet Ellen Doris again, it's not a farmer house I'll be offering her, nor a life in the country.
No one could care for you as I care for you. I know the blood between us, and I know the thoughts I had as I saw each of you grow up. But where are you going?
To see the boys that are going away.
Wait till the fall. And I'll give you money to go and come back. Farrell Kavanaugh often goes to America. You could go with him.
I'll go by myself, unless Ellen Doris comes now. The creamery owes me money for the carron and the carton. I'll get it.
Go. Goodbye to you, Matt Cosgar.
Goodbye to you.
floor swept, the hearth tidied. It's a queer end to it all. 20 years I've bid them offer. 20 years. 20 years. Martin, the men will be coming back.
I suppose they will.
You're a queer fellow, Martin Doris. You went to jail for some meeting?
Aye.
And then was the stirring times. I can't help but think of you in jail and by yourself. What brings you back now?
Helen told me to go back. I should say something to Matt, I think.
He went out as you came in.
I'll go in when the house is quiet. I'll have a few prayers to be saying this night.
I'm going to the fair.
I won't be going to the fair.
Why won't you be going to the fair? Didn't you ask me for a lift? You'll be going with me.
I won't be going, and don't be overbearing me now, Mordecai.
You will be going to the fair. If it was only to be showing that seemly face of yours. Sally! I've a daughter still, Martin Doris.
Yeah? And I have a son.
What would you say to a match between them, Martin Doris?
I have nothing to say against it.
Then a match it will be.
If you fed that based on honey she turned on you, cabbage I gave her and got into trouble for it, and now she's gone and trampled the bad potatoes till there's hardly worth the boiling. I'll put the bush in the gap when I'm going out again, Father.
Aye. Is that Cornelius Doris that's coming up the path?
No, the faith it is. I'll get him to give me a hand with the trough.
Well, Father, a great and memorial day is ended. May you live long enough to enjoy the fruits of it. 20 years on the first term, and the land is ours and our children's. I met the men.
Ours and our children's. Aye. We've been making a match between yourself and Sally.
Between me and Sally.
Between Cornelius and myself.
Shake hands on it now.
And tell me one thing, Mr. Cosgrove. Is it true that Matt's going to America? And that Ellen will wait for him for a year at school? I met them together and they told me that.
What they say is true, I'm sure. The land is yours and your children.
Oh, Cornelius!
Aren't they foolish to be going away like that, Father? We at the mouth of the good times. The men will be coming in soon, and you might say a few words. Indeed, you might, Father. They'll expect it of you. Men of barrack enough, you might say. Stay on the land, and you'll be saved, body and soul. You'll be saved in a man and in the nation. The nation, men in panic enough. Do you ever think of it at all? Do you ever think of the Irish nation that is waiting all this time to be born?
The Garden of Eden hath vanished, they say, but I know the life still. Just turn to the left at the bridge of Finney, and stop when halfway to Coot Hill. 'Tis there I will find it, I know sure enough, when fortune has come to me call. Oh, the grass it is green down in Valley Duff, and the blue sky is over it all. And tones that are tender, and tones that are gruff, are whispering over the sea. Come back, Paddy Riley, to Valley Duff. Come home, Paddy Riley, to me. Come back, Paddy Riley, to Valley Duff. Come home, Paddy Riley, to me.
we're rolling. When you're ready.
Okay, well, I'm ready. And my comments will be very brief because I think in some ways the play speaks for itself. So give a wonderful play. I congratulate Jim on the revival of this almost forgotten play by this almost forgotten playwright. I think that the last time that there was a Park Column play performed in the Abbey was 1981, which was the centenary of his birth. So Colin is not he's not a playwright who's much remembered these days. In fact, he's to the extent that he's remembered for things other than plays. So it's kind of marvelous to be part of this kind of revival. I'm fairly sure that this is the only production of The Land that will ever be done this year in the world. So congratulations on that. And it's also a play, by the way, which is one of the great romantic overture lines in all of drama. Would you like me to knit you a pair of socks? A prelude to a proposal of marriage. Would you like to be married with my people? So it's all amazing. I think it's a very interesting play, and it's an interesting play by an interesting playwright. Colin is a man, I would say, if I were to characterize the play, and if I were to characterize Colin, I would say he is a divided man. And I'd say in some ways it's a divided play. What do I mean by that? First of all, by a divided man, he is, as Jim said, a man who is deeply, deeply rooted in the Irish soil, in the Irish countryside. He was born in Longford and has this intense identification with Irish rural life and the life of the Irish peasantry. What he sees in that life are the kind of sacramental themes that I think are coming out in the play, and we'll talk about those a bit later. But that's one part of his personality, and the other part of his personality, of course, is that he was very much involved in the Irish literary Renaissance, in the early 20th century. So he spent his early life in Longford, and then came to Dublin. He got himself, as a young man, he was involved in this Irish literary Renaissance. So his friends would have been people like A.E. and Joyce and so on. He had quite a close friendship with Joyce, and he wrote a book about his friendship with Joyce towards the end of his life. He and his wife wrote a book called Our Friend James Joyce. So he was almost kind of Joyce's Boswell, as some said. I mean, there was Joyce as Johnson, and you have Parry Cullen as his Boswell. I think actually Joyce was Joyce had a fairly high opinion of himself. Not as high opinion of Parry Cullen. I mean, he used to refer to him as Parry, what do you call him? Joyce could be able to dismiss it. But anyway, he was a divided man. He was a man of the world of the Irish countryside and the Irish peasantry, and he was a man of this the world of Joyce and A.E. and Lady Gregory and Ibsen. I mean, he was a great admirer of Ibsen and the dramas of Ibsen. And in fact, in some ways you can see that in the play, because the play styles itself as an agricultural comedy, and Jim certainly, I think, that the players really brought out the comedic aspects of it. But in a way, it is kind of a divided play because the third act is pretty dark. The fight between father and son, which, by the way, is such a theme in Irish literature. I mean, the tension between father and son, I think, is quite powerfully realized in the third act. So there's comedy and sentimentality in the second act, but I think the third act is in some ways quite dark. I would see Colm as in some ways a divided man, and You can see that in his own life, of course, because having grown up in the countryside, having established himself in Dublin, then you can see the theme of emigration in the play, and he had a kind of an ambiguous attitude to emigration as well, because he basically wanted people to stay in Ireland. He wanted people to make a life in Ireland, to make a life on the land of Ireland. But he himself, of course, went to America in 1914 with his wife Mary, and essentially spent the rest of his life in America, and had an important role to play in kind of Irish American theatre and in Irish American literature, so a man who felt that sometimes people emigrated for frivolous reasons, and some of that comes out in the play. In some of the bits that Jim actually cut out, there was a kind of a chat about, kind of emigrating for the wrong reasons, just for a lark, just because it would be fun and so on and so forth. And Colin is quite critical of that, and he's critical of the way in which people, in a sense, abandon Ireland by emigrating. But as I say, he himself emigrated and spent most of his life in America. So I think in some ways he's a divided man, and I think in some ways it's a kind of a divided play, because in different ways. Of course, the central question of the play is land and what land means. And it was written in 1905, performed in 1905, and performed at the Abbey. And here's another sort of way in which there's a bit of division going on here, because Colin was a Catholic nationalist in a world of basically well-to-do Protestants, Yeats and Lady Gregory and so on. So the kind of the governing ethos of the Abbey was I think well-to-do Protestant. And along comes someone like Colin, who represents kind of Catholic nationalism. And as Jim knows, Jim has written a book on this, of course. But there was a kind of a division in the Abbey in 1905, where basically there was a kind of an argument between Edward Martin and Yeats about the future direction of the Abbey. And basically, Colin took the side of Martin and the Catholic nationalists. Maybe that's more than we need to know. But land is the central question of the play, and in some ways I would frame the play this way: that to Werther's generation, the land represents freedom, and it represents the end of a great struggle for the ownership of the land of Ireland. And that struggle, there's a reference to the cause and being in jail. That's the land war of the early 1880s. What you see here, will know this because you took a course in Irish history. What you see in the last 20 years of the 19th century and the early years of the 20th century is effectively the transfer of land from the landlord class to the tenant class. And that's where the play starts. So there's a reference to, the Day of Redemption, which is kind of a wonderfully there's a kind of a double meaning there. There's a kind of a redemptive quality, not simply redeeming the land, but that we are going to be redeemed by this new ownership of the land. And that's a reference to one of the great legislative achievements of the 20th century in Ireland, the Land Purchase Act of 1903. Sometimes known as Wyndham's Land Act, after a man called George Wyndham, who, by the way, this being sponsored by the Chesterton, or co-sponsored by the Chesterton Institute. I should say that George Wyndham was basically the one politician who Chesterton admired almost without reservation. He thought that he was a kind of heroic figure. And Wyndham was the man who sponsored this land purchase scheme, which had a completely transformative effect on Irish life. And effectively what it meant was that the tenant class could buy out the landlord class, and that's what is happening in this play. It is an extraordinary sort of thought that at the end of this kind of process, about 300,000 Irish tenants had bought their land.
Wow.
Over about a third of 1 million tenant farmers have become proprietors. So that's the kind of social revolution that we're talking about. As I read the play, or as I hear the play, there's a kind of question being asked, and that is, are we liberated by the land? Are we free of landlordism? Are we free of English control? Are we free to make a life of our own in that kind of frugal piety that Chesterton admired in distributism? We are freed by the land. And obviously, that's Myrta's. That is Myrta's view. Here is the Irish nation. The very last words of the play: the Irish nation making itself, being made by the ownership of the land. And then there's the other view, and the other view is that, which you could pose in the form of a question: do we own the land, or does the land own us? Does the land somehow or other capture us? And there's Ellen, who refuses to be in a farmer's house, and she dreams of America, and she's going to go to America, and there we will be as free as the birds over the bog. That line in the play. So it's a kind of a generational conflict between one generation who wants to own the land and the freedom that the ownership of that land represents, and then there's a younger generation for whom that land could be a form of imprisonment, a form of almost we are owned by the land. I think Colm is a good enough playwright and a good enough thinker to leave that in some ways unresolved. He recognizes the desire to escape, the desire to leave, and he doesn't problematize it that much. He can certainly see that there is America and there is freedom, the shops, the throngs, and all of that. So I would suggest that that's one of the divisions in the play. But at the end of it, and as I look at other aspects of Colm's life and other sort of themes in his writing, I think it's pretty clear that he retains that earlier part of his personality, that rootedness in the land, and those sacramental themes that we see in the land. If you look at his poetry, for example, there's this kind of intense identification with the needs for a home, that beautiful little poem, the old lady of the old woman of the road. All I want is a little home of my own. A little cottage with a dresser and delf and all of that, which is a poem I imagine that is learned off by heart by almost every Irish school child, or certainly when I was a schoolboy. I don't know what people are learning off by heart now, if they're learning anything off by heart, but they certainly learned that off by heart when I was a boy. So I think at the end of it all, Colm has this insistence that the land is the way in which we are going to be made free. That he's not kind of stressing the way in which the land owns us, but that we will be, so to speak, liberated to be ourselves as an Irish nation by ownership of the land. Gloria is telling me.
Just one quick comment about the song that they started with tonight.
Yes, I can certainly make a little comment on that. And that is that if Colm is known for anything, perhaps these days, it is that he is the author of She Moved Through the Fair, the beautiful song we started off with tonight. This was a melody that he heard on a trip to County Donegal with a composer called Herbert Hughes, who was a friend of his. And he heard this tune in County Donegal, and he wrote the words that we heard tonight. There's a bit of a controversy about that, by the way, as there is in everything about Ireland. He wrote a letter to the Irish Times in 1970 claiming authorship of She Moved Through the Fair, and then another man wrote, well, no, you didn't write that. And I heard a similar song with similar words a few years before. At any rate, I'm not prepared to deny him authorship of this beautiful song. So those are my thoughts on this marvelous play.
There's food. Thank you very much, Dermot, and for your. I didn't want to bother trying to explain the news back because above my pay grade. There's stuff outside, and everybody here would be delighted to talk with you and the cast. I want to say one other little thing quickly. I asked them to sing "Come Back, Paddy Riley," because the last time I was in Ireland, a good friend of mine, James N. Healy, came to see us. We were touring Ireland and came to see us, stayed and talked to our playwright. And then the last thing he did, and he'd gotten out of the hospital to come, was to sing "Come Back, Paddy Riley" to me. And he did that because he tried all the times we worked together to teach it to me, and I couldn't use it. So thank you very much.